ladies and gentlemen, so another week, another mock draft. Today we are going to be doing a mock draft for the 2025 NBA draft class. We do these every single week leading up to the NBA draft, which is not that far. The lottery is in May. It's December. We have 5 months until the lottery, and there's been a lot of interesting conversations going on in basketball. We have Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, Yerger Demon, Nolan Traore, Asa Newell. There are a whole lot of intriguing prospects this year, and we're going to be breaking them down all season. So without further ado, let's get into the mock draft. All right, so let's simulate the lottery. Now, last time I did this, the Bulls got the number 1 pick, but we're going to do this all over again. And we are going to be starting with the Spurs getting the 14th pick, and then as so on and as so forth, with the Chicago Bulls getting the number 1 pick and eventually getting Cooper Flagg. You know, Cooper Flagg's coming to my city. That means I'm going to a lot of games. That means I'm going to a lot of games. So let's get this lottery draft. Let's get this mock draft started. Okay, so the Chicago Bulls are on the clock, and there has been some conversation about Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper kind of being around the same tier of prospect, which I can understand. Dylan Harper has shown a lot early on, the ability to play the in-between game, the ability to get to the rim, the ability to be a crafty finisher, just to be able to shoot the mid-range shot. But there are some things that I feel like I have concerns with. The defense is very concerning. He has little to no ambition to play any off ball. The defense is really concerning. I didn't touch on that like I wanted to. He doesn't make the proper rotation. He doesn't fight through screens, and he loses people on ball. So I don't know. Sometimes the effort isn't there. Sometimes he's truly just not engaged. So sometimes he makes me think he should be in the right system to where people would kind of have to not force him, but he would have to have that defensive side brought out of him. And if he goes to a culture that's not really a defensive presence or a coach who doesn't really hang his hat on defense, he's going to be a bad defender for majority of his career. But I still think Cooper Flagg is the number 1 pick as of right now. I still think he's comfortably the number 1 pick. Now, Dylan Harper has made things interesting because Cooper Flagg came into this draft being probably the consensus number 1 pick in the draft. But I think what is made Cooper Flagg disappointing to the consensus draft prospect type of fans and college basketball fans is we kind of used him as a generational prospect. And I don't think Cooper Flagg showed anything in high school to be a generational prospect. I mean, he's a great defender, don't get me wrong, at 6'9". The on-ball defense, the rim protection, the rebounding, the intensity he plays with, and all of that is great. But when we look at generational prospects, those are guys like Victor Wembanyama. Those are guys like LeBron James. Those are guys like Hakeem Olajuwon and Wilt Chamberlain. These guys are generational prospects. These guys are coming in and teams are literally saying, look, 18, 19-year-old player, here's the keys to the franchise, and our entire franchise is based on how you progress. And I just don't think Cooper Flagg is that. Now, he's still going to be a very good player. I think he's a really good prospect. I think he's up there with the Zions and the Chets and the Anthony Davis type prospects where he can probably be a game wrecker defensively the second he walks into the door because he plays extremely hard. You know, he's a solid playmaker. He has a good touch around the rim. The mid-range shot is iffy, but I like how he attacks closeouts off the pick and pop, how he shoots off the pick and pop, how he cuts to the basket, how he's a roll threat in the pick and roll. He's now been the ball handler in some pick and rolls. So Cooper Flagg is still the consensus number 1 pick to me. He's still the consensus number 1 pick to me. That's no slight to Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper has been phenomenal this season. Once again, there are things I am concerned about, but there are things I'm concerned about with every single player on this list. You know, so there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a concern I have with every single player that I mock today. Every single one. So with that being said, Cooper Flagg is going to be the very first pick of the 2025 NBA mock draft by At The Buzzer Sports. At number 2, the Charlotte Hornets. I think they're going to go Ace Bailey here. And once again, this is a kind of another situation that you have kind of like with Scoot and Brandon Miller, where Dylan Harper is kind of obviously the number 2 pick, but he doesn't really fit with what the Hornets are trying to do. And I think Ace Bailey better fits that. You know, I don't think the gap is huge between Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. There has been some concerns that are a little bit more bright with Ace Bailey. You know, they're much more noticeable, his concerns. The fact that he does not get to the rim, the fact that he does not create rim pressure. And it's not because he's not athletic. It's not because he's not fast. It's not because he doesn't have the tools. It's just because the ball handling is not the best. The ball handling in the half court is not good. But when we look in transition, the speed, the athleticism, the length, all that show up. So the rim pressure out of transition isn't the problem. It's the rim pressure in the half court. And once that develops, like, that can be taught, you know. So once that happens, once that gets put together, I think Ace Bailey is going to be phenomenal. Like, I think there's a world where Ace Bailey becomes the best scorer out of these top 3 players. He has the intangibles. You know, when you look at the length, the wingspan, the size, the tough shot making ability, the shooting ability, you know, on top of that, him being 6'10", you know, I think he has better tough shot making ability than Dylan Harper and Cooper Flagg. He has the tools to be a very good defender in this league. But once again, one of the most important things as a scorer or as a focal point in any offense is rim pressure. Rim pressure creates easy offense almost 100% of the time. So if you can't bring that, or if you can't create that as a guy who's being brought in to be a scorer, then that is a very big concern. Now, the off-ball play is very intriguing. The spot-up shooting is very intriguing. The shooting off the dribble is very intriguing. The motion shooting is very intriguing, to where we see Ace Bailey make all these tough shots because he can't create in the half court and get downhill to the basket. And then he's leaning, or he's making these adjustments to really shoot these tough shots, and they're going in. They're going in. So I think the rim pressure stuff, I think within a real NBA offense, a coach is going to be able to draw up some schemes where Ace Bailey can create rim pressure in the half court. We see this with a lot of young athletes, especially athletes who don't play the guard position. They have problems seeing the floor. That's just something that we can expect at this point. So once again, all that stuff can come with time. I think Ace Bailey is going to improve. Now, I'm not saying he's going to make a complete 180 with his shot creation in the half court, but I think it's going to get better as the games go along. And a starting 5 of LaMelo, or just a backcourt of LaMelo and Brandon Miller, and then you have Ace Bailey at the 3, or maybe even at the 4, depending if he puts a little bit more size on. I don't know if you trust him as a rebounder at the NBA level just yet, especially as a 4. Maybe at the 3 he can give you 5 or 6 rebounds in his rookie season, but as a 4, I don't know if he's going to be able to defend the Aaron Gordon, or really out-rebound the Julius Randles, the Aaron Gordons, the Jalen Johnsons. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. But if you have him at the 3 and he's running in transition with Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, like, that's what makes me put Ace Bailey at number 2, because he fits so well with what the Hornets are doing. You have Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball who run like chickens with their head cut off in transition. And Ace Bailey can fit into that like a glove. So Ace Bailey's going to go number 2 here. He's going to go number 2 here. And if the draft were to happen tomorrow when this happened, it's going to be the same thing that happened with Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. The exact same thing. The exact same thing. Like, we're going to see, you're going to be like, oh my God, you're supposed to get Dylan Harper and put him at the 2. Ace Bailey isn't that good, this, that, and the third. People with their concerns. Once again, in the preseason, this is the same guy who was getting better than Cooper Flagg hype. So why are we still flip-flopping on these 19-year-olds? I don't get that. Anyway, enough about my Ace Bailey rant, because that took a very long time. Now, Dylan Harper will go here. This is the best player on the board. He was the best player on the board at the 2nd pick. But now the Washington Wizards really get their guy. I think Dylan Harper has shown to be able to be like a solid scorer in the NBA. And when we look at a guy that's 6'6", who has an elite craftiness around the rim, who gets to the free throw line willingly, I think he's taking about 7 or 8 free throws a game. He has getting better. He has gotten better as a passer. Once again, the defense is still lacking, but this is the type of guy who I truly believe can take those shots or can score at a volume. May not be the most efficient. Once again, about 50% from the field. I don't know how accurate these stats are. I know Fanspo's stats are never that accurate, but I do believe he can be a volume scorer. And when I watch him, shout out to Pensar Basketball. We did a kind of a scouting report of the top 15 prospects, just like a small film study and really talking about the players and breaking them down. He really opened my eyes to his Jalen Brunson comparison. And I really like that. You know, a guy that lives in the in-between game, can work around the rim, is very crafty around the rim, can finish over taller players, can get to the free throw line at ease almost, and is just extremely shifty with his ball handling, his balance, his body control. Now you take all of that and you make him 6'5", 215 pounds. That's extremely dangerous. You know, you have a guy who is tall, strong, great balance, you know, gets to the free throw line consistently. And I'm a firm believer of this. I think it's harder to get to the free throw line at the collegiate level than it is in the NBA. Trust and believe. So Dylan Harper's very intriguing. He is very intriguing. So once again, the Wizards get their guy. The Wizards get their guy. And then you never know. Maybe next year in the 2026 draft, you pair him with a Darren Peterson. You know what I'm saying? I know these names. I'm studying these names. You know what I'm saying? We getting ready. You know, as we're doing 2025 draft content, I already got 2026 in the back of my head, baby. I'm one of the best scouts. I'm one of the best scouts out there. You know, shout out P with a plug. Shout out Hoop Intellect. You know, I'm one of the most underrated prospect scouts out there. You know what I'm saying? As for the Toronto Raptors, I'm torn here because the Raptors could use so much. Like, I wouldn't hate a Nolan. I kind of wouldn't hate a Nolan Traore at number 4. I wouldn't hate a VJ Edgecombe pick. Kind of would hate a Kaman Maluach pick at 4. I wouldn't hate Jaeger Demon because, once again, Jaeger Demon is kind of struggling a little bit now against better competition, which we kind of saw coming, but I don't know what to do with him. Also, Kasparas Yakuchonis, who's been very impressive this season. There are a lot of guys. Once again, this big board is kind of outdated because Drake Powell is still top 10. Hugo Gonzalez is still top 10. And Nolan Traore is almost out on his way out of the top 10, if we are being completely honest. And it sucks, man, because I really like Nolan Traore. That's tough, man. By the way, I don't do my mock drafts before I record. I want to take you guys through the process. This is exactly why we're only 3 picks in and the video's 14 minutes long. Like, I hope y'all are relaxed. We got like 27 more picks and we're already 14 minutes in. This video might be an hour. So take your time, sit back, relax now, and we're going to get through this mock draft. All right, so if you ask me, I think Scotty Barnes is a great player. I don't think he is like a number 1 offensively. And there's nothing wrong with that. Scotty Barnes does a lot of things well. Oh, my God. Very, very, very intriguing defender. Very good defender. Very good rebounder. Very good playmaker. You know, he is starting to have more of a polish offensively, which is something we've been begging to see for the past few seasons. But I don't know, man. I don't know if you want to put all those eggs in the basket. Now, when we look at guys like Jaeger Demon or a Trey Johnson or a Kasparas Yakuchonis, can they fit well next to Scotty Barnes? And can they be offensively what Scotty Barnes is lacking? Consistent shooting, you know, another ball handler. Do you still have that belief of IQ and RJ Barrett to become those guys? I mean, I know you guys got those guys on big deals, but or would you like to go defense in VJ Edgecombe or Kaman Maluach? Maybe even Drake Powell. I'm going to go I'm gonna go Jaeger Demon here. I think he has the highest offensive I don't know, man, because him and Trey Johnson. I don't know if I would say he has higher offensive upside than Trey Johnson as of right now. But with the playmaking and the off-ball play that he does provide, I think him and Scotty Barnes would be really tough to guard offensively. So Jaeger Dem is going to go number 4. As for the Philadelphia 76ers, I think some perimeter defense is what's best for them. And I think VJ Edgecombe is going to help that out a lot. Just some athleticism on the perimeter. Somebody who can guard, point guard, shooting guards, some small forwards as well. Can run extremely well in transition. Plays the pick and roll surprisingly well. The way he attacks the basket, the way he's able to kick out to shooters, those things are very intriguing. But there are some things with VJ Edgecombe that scare me. He is very unbalanced when we look at a guy who's just putting his head down and going to the rim. Sometimes he does have tunnel vision there, where sometimes I feel like he just loses his balance and he just is falling out of bounds and into the stands, trying to get a shot up. It doesn't get called for a foul, then that leads to turnovers. The jump shot is very concerning. And people say he's 6'5". I think VJ Edgecombe is probably 6'3" with a short wingspan. So stuff like that is gonna matter. People don't think about the height, the wingspan as much as you really would think they should. When we look at a guy who is 6'3", has a short wingspan, but lives on the defensive side of the ball and doesn't really do much else. Nowadays, we have guys who are 6'9", extremely long wingspan, can put the ball on the floor and attack the rim. With a switch-heavy league, those type of things are concerning. You're already not a great shooter. So some small things like that, I think the official measurements are going to be very interesting. But with all that aside, I still think VJ Edgecombe is a phenomenal player, with the transition play offensively and defensively. I think his rim protection as a guard is phenomenal. I really like to think of VJ Edgecombe as a Derek White, but a Derek White with less offensive game, or not even less offensive game, less shooting ability. We look at a small guard who can guard the perimeter really well, defends the rim as a guard at a really high level, plays phenomenally in transition. Now, I know VJ Edgecombe is a better athlete than Derek White, but Derek White really transforms the transition game for the Boston Celtics with his pull-up three-point shooting ability, the way he's able to fill gaps and fill lanes and kick and run straight to the corner and hit a three off the catch, where VJ Edgecombe fills lanes correctly. He's a great lob threat. He can put the ball on the floor and get up and down the floor extremely quick. Defensively, he's always getting back into the play. Same with Derek White. I see a lot of Derek White and VJ Edgecombe. I really do. Don't kill me for that comparison, but that is something I see. Once again, we are on pick number 6, and we are 19 minutes into this video. That is crazy. Okay, with the 6th pick in this mock draft, we have the New Orleans Pelicans selecting. And part of me wants to take Liam McNeely, or another part of me wants to take Kasparas Giacochonis. I think he plays really well. I think he could play really well with Zion Williamson as well, because he is a ball handler. He can work out of the pick and roll, and he's also an off-ball player. I think Kasparas Giacochonis is the pick here. I think with the pick and roll play that he has, the ball handling that he possesses, the shiftiness, the change of direction, the change of pace, the off-ball play that he does provide, I think that pairs perfectly next to Zion Williamson. The way that Zion Williamson can be a dominant ball handler, a great roller in the pick and roll. Kasparas Giacochonis does play extremely well into that type of system. So Kasparas Giacochonis is going to go number 6 to the New Orleans Pelicans. And now we have the Utah Jazz at number 7. So who has the best star upside out of all these guys? Because I think that is what the Utah Jazz need. Now, I don't think I'm crazy to say Nolan Traore is the pick here. I think Nolan Traore can find himself within this Utah Jazz system to where he's going to create rim pressure all the time. Now, his touch around the rim needs to be worked on. His shooting needs to be worked on. He's never been a good defender. but the way he operates in the pick and roll, the way he's able to split blitzes, the way he's able to make reads off the pick and roll, I think he's averaging about 7 to 8 assists a game. He has been playing with much older talent, so I could really understand that, or understand some of his struggles. But a lot of these things I do presume will get better. I do think Utah can put him in a situation where he's not going to have to worry about being the predominant ball handler or just being the lone ball handler in a heliocentric type of offense. But Nolan Traore is going to be my 7th pick here. He's going to be my 7th pick here to Utah. I think he probably has the highest star upside, him and Trey Johnson, to where if that's what this team needs, that's what I'm going to provide for them. Up next, the San Antonio Spurs with the, what is this? The 8th pick in the draft. This is tricky because I think the San Antonio Spurs, when we talk about guards, I think Stephon Castle and Devin Vassell have been solid for the Spurs. Now, I'm not saying they have number 2 potential, but they've definitely been solid. If you want to bring a guy who is going to help out on defense some more with Stephon Castle and Victor Wembanyama, Colin Murray-Boyles could be the way to go. I think Colin Murray-Boyles is a fantastic defender. I don't think Kaman Malawach is going to be a contender for the Spurs. I don't see him playing any 4, and I don't see Victor Wembanyama moving to the 4 either for Kaman Malak out of all people. I think the best pick in this situation is Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson does a lot of things that intrigues me, and the fact that he fell all the way to 8 may be concerning because once again, Trey Johnson could be the best scorer in this draft. I think you can say that for a lot of guys. I think Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, and Jaeger Demon, and maybe Cooper Flagg. But as far as pure scoring, I think Trey Johnson has a real case to be probably the best scorer out of this draft when it's all said and done. 5 to 7 years down the line, we could look and be like, Trey Johnson is the best scorer in this draft. And there's a lot of things that intrigue me with Trey Johnson's game. One, he does play out of the post at times, which is very intriguing to me. He does play off the dribble. He does play off motion and off the catch. Very, very solid shooter. Can create with the ball in his hand, has a great in-between game. He's 6'6", moves extremely quick. But a few things that I kind of put together. Trey Johnson being a 2 guard, I don't know how many people are necessarily going to want to see him progress more as a playmaker, but when you are a scoring player or you are a predominant scorer, you're going to get different looks in basketball, period. And one of the things that I'm going to be looking at, by the way, they just played UConn today. I'm going to be watching that. I have it recorded. I'm going to go watch that back after this video. One of the things I'm going to be looking at very closely with Trey Johnson is how he reacts to different schemes, especially once we get further and further down the line of his collegiate season and we see the different looks that teams, that colleges are starting to give him. That is very important to me. That's extremely important to me, just to see, can he read the floor well? Can he make a quick decision? Is the fact that he can't read the floor affecting his shot chart or his shot diet? So those things are very intriguing. I've seen him play out of the post multiple times this season. I would love to see him become a post playmaker. Once again, a lot of those things probably aren't going to come right now. You know, this is a 19, 20, 18 to 20-year-old player who, once again, doesn't have it all put together. But one thing he is going to do is he's going to score that damn ball. He's going to score that damn ball. And he's going to do it pretty efficiently in multiple different ways as well. I think he can be a switchblade coming into the league. Probably won't start day one. Probably won't start all rookie season. But this is the type of guy where I could see him giving you 13, 14 points off the bench for a team like the Spurs, who are probably going to be making a playoff push next season. Shit, they're making one right now. So I think Trey Johnson is a really good player, man. And I'm going to be vouching for him all season. I'm going to keep watching film on him. We're going to see how that goes. Up next for the Portland Trail Blazers, I think this pick's kind of easy. You take Liam McNeely, somebody who can attack the rim really well. Now, his touch around the rim is concerning. I don't think he's going to be the high volume 3-point shooter that you would want him to be. I think his cap is probably 6 or 7 a game. And the difference between him and Kon Knueppel, and the reason I really took Liam McNeely over Kon Knueppel, I think Liam McNeely has the defensive tools a little bit better than Kon Knueppel. I think Liam McNeely is just a tad bit more athletic. I think he moves better on his feet, just side to side. I think he can complement guys like Shaedon Sharpe and Donovan Clingan, and two guys who obviously UConn alumni. And I think having him next to Scoot Henderson, even though Scoot Henderson has been very disappointing, I think what makes Scoot Henderson so good, Liam McNeely complements that. Just by Scoot Henderson being able to collapse defenses when he gets downhill. Now, he has not been able to show that as much so far in his but in his career. But if you want Scoot Henderson to really become that, I think, or really to become the starting point guard in the future of this team, him creating rim pressure and him getting downhill and kicking out to shooters is a part of that. And what better to have a sharpshooter from UConn, somebody who's going to be playing in a high-level offense, somebody who's going to be coming in and is a winner, played at Montverde Academy, played in UConn with Dan Hurley, one of the, if not the best, the best college coach right now. So Liam McNeely is going to be a Portland Trailblazer at number 9. And at number 10, Kon Knueppel is going to be going to the Detroit Pistons. This is somebody who, one of my favorite prospects in the draft, by the way. Kon Knueppel, 6'7". I think he has the shooting volume. I think his release is quick as hell. And I think his release is fast enough to where his window to shoot is much better than Liam McNeely's. And I think that is something you have to look at when you want to see a player shoot more threes. I think they're quick. The timing of their release really opens up the window, the shooting window, to where if a player has a slower shot, they may not be able to shoot as much threes. Kon Knueppel has a quick shot. He has a quick shot to where he's going to be able to get up that three faster than Liam McNeely. That's why I think Kon Knueppel can be a 9-3 a night type of dude. Where I think Liam McNeely's probably going to be a 6 or a 7. So I think Kon Knueppel has that volume. I think he attacks closeouts well. He's extremely physical, which is something that is great. I think his athleticism is a little concerning, especially once we get higher and higher up. But this is a guy who's shooting maybe 37, 38% from 3 on 7 attempts in college. So that's something that is very intriguing. So I have Kon Knueppel going to Detroit, and he's going to be playing off of Cade Cunningham extremely well. For the Sacramento Kings, they are at the 11th pick, and the best center on the board is available, Kaman Malak. This would be perfect for them. Now, he's probably not going to start ever, but Kaman Malak being a backup center with his length, his speed, his recovery, and him being able to learn for a few seasons, coming off the bench, not having his weaknesses overexerted, I think that's great for him. Kaman Malak is a guy who 7'2", he played for South Sudan this season, showed a lot in South Sudan, made some really good defensive possessions on Anthony Davis. He's a great shot blocker, great rebounder. He moves his feet really well in the pick and roll. He plays very high up on the pick and roll because his recovery time is great. But once again, there are some things that I am concerned about. Once again, the offense has not been great for Kaman Malak. He is very aggressive on defense to where he can lose his spot in the paint pretty quick, and that gives up a lot of open layups just because he's more worried about going for the block than really altering the shot good enough to where there's no possible chance of it going in. But we see that a lot from young centers, especially young defensive prospects like a Kaman Malak. I don't think a lot of defensive-oriented bigs come in and they're as polished as a Chet Holmgren was when he first came in. But once again, Chet Holmgren kind of got like a full season. To really sit and watch the game. Kaman Malak is going to have that as well. You know, I think he's going to really learn a lot coming off the bench. I think he's going to be a hell of a pick and roll partner for De'Aaron Fox. I think De'Aaron Fox is going to be able to feed him easy shots in the paint. You know, and we've seen some type of shooting from Kaman Malak. He shot some corner threes. He played in the mid range just a little bit. I don't expect that to be in his game anytime soon. Maybe his first 2 or 3 seasons, I don't see him taking a lot of jump shots because I don't think that's going to be his job. I think his job, if he were to come to a Sacramento, come in, get some rebounds, block some shots, run the floor, which he does really well, play the pick and roll, play the high pick and roll because you are so good at getting downhill and just running and dunking. I think he works really good with the Sacramento team. You know, I think he'll be able to play the dribble handoff game really well. Once again, I think him in extremely high pick and rolls with De'Aaron Fox could work really well. I would love to see how he plays out of the short roll, but that's something that, once again, is going to come with time. But Kaman Malak is a real player. He's a real player. He is a real player. Up next, we got the Utah Jazz again, who picked Nolan Traore. And looking at their team, I don't know if they want to take, like, raw prospect, or do you want to go somebody more safe? And with this pick, I'm actually going to go Asa Newell from Georgia. He's going to be going to the Utah Jazz. Now, this is a guy who I kind of see a little bit of John Collins, but then again, I kind of see a little bit of Christian Wood. But Asa Newell is a guy who runs the floor extremely well. He's not the best shooter, but he is a willing shooter. I don't know how good that is going to be for a guy that's playing the 4 or the 5, but he's extremely athletic, finishes around the rim pretty well. He's a solid offensive rebounder, can make the necessary plays and isn't a complete negative when he has the ball in his hand. So that's something that could be praised as well. Up next for the Dallas Mavericks, I just want to get them a little more physicality. Colin Murray Boyles is going to be that guy. Colin Murray Boyles, as of right now, 6'7". He's extremely strong at 245 pounds. He's a great rebounder. Once again, shout out to Pensar Basketball. He made a great point when we talked about the prospects was 2 things that translate to the NBA is strength and rebounding. And I think Colin Murray Boyles has that. Now, there's a few things that I do see kind of concerning. The 3-point shot has been, and it's getting better, but I still don't think that's something that could be an advantage for a team coming in. And I think that maybe that might have him fall. I don't necessarily see the offensive game for him to become a 3 yet. The ball control is something that I would look at to get better. The playmaking is solid. The back to the basket game is really good. I see him as an undersized 4 as of right now. Like, I see a lot of Aaron Gordon, but once again, the athleticism is not there to that point. So he has very good hands. He defends really well. But when we look at his game and the offensive limitations and him being an undersized 4, you would really want him to learn how to shoot. You would really want him to learn how to shoot because then you're more comfortable leaving him at the 4 because now he can stretch the floor a little bit on top of that downhill pressure he creates and him being able to make that extra pass or him being able to get that offensive rebound and stretch the floor really well. You know, he's also a phenomenal help defender. Phenomenal. So Dallas is going to take him here. Somebody who can learn behind PJ, learn behind Daniel Gafford, learn behind Najee Marshall. You know, somebody who's going to be able to learn. May not get much minutes, but he's going to learn. He's going to learn a lot. As for the 14th pick, I did this in my last mock draft. I don't know if I'm willing to do it again, but I think the Spurs are going to make a risky pick. Like somebody that they really see, like somebody they see that has a lot of potential. I think Noah Essengay, being a forward, I think he's more of a power forward, 6'9". He is a little skinny right now, but he shows a lot offensively. You know, he runs the floor really well. He finishes around the rim really well. Solid rebounder, somebody who can catch a lob in transition. And you would love that fit next to Wemby. You know, just having somebody who is 6'9", extremely lengthy, can switch. You know, this is somebody where the tools kind of intrigue you more than the game. And once again, when we see him play, you kind of see the offensive tools, the speed, the wingspan, the ball handling ability, the ability to cut, the ability to finish around the rim, the rebounding ability. And you say, if we bring in a guy like this who can play maybe the 3 or the 4 next to Wemby, and we have a 6'9", ultra athletic, lengthy guy just switching all over the perimeter and being a help side rim protector next to Wemby and playing the passing lanes and being extremely good with his hands, why can't that be one of the better defensive duos in the league later down the line? I think that's what the Spurs are into, especially when you already got a guy like Trey Johnson. Mark my words. I'm telling you, if the Spurs get 2 picks in the lottery, their second pick in the lottery is going to be a guy that is probably not projected anywhere near the lottery. Maybe a guy who's projected between 20 and 25. Because I'm not going to lie. These really good teams who stay good, they make their money off of betting on these type of players. Speaking of the Oklahoma City Thunder, let's talk about them. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who did they bet on? They bet on Isaiah Joe. They bet on Aaron Wiggins. They bet on a guy like Cason Wallace, who once again was a lottery pick. But even with guys, AJ Mitchell, Nikola Topic is going to be coming around. They also have a draft pick who I'm sure they're not going to trade. The Houston Rockets, when they got James Harden, they had no clue James Harden was going to be an MVP caliber player. 36 points per game. They saw the tools. Great ball handler, gets to the free throw line, plays well in the pick and roll, solid shooter, great shooter. Let's see what happens if he runs our offense. Why not? Why not, right? Why not? The rest is history. The rest is history, ladies and gentlemen. And the Thunder are going to do that. I don't know how long Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be on the board, or how long Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be a Thunder. Now, he has a 3-year, $30 million deal. Don't get me wrong. But once again, you're going to have to start paying these guys. You know? And this is where I think the Thunder's draft picks come in so heavily. Because you may not think these are important now, but later down the line, you're going to have to pay Lou Dort. You're going to have to pay iHeart. You're going to have to pay Isaiah Joe again. You know, these guys are going to have to get paid. So people say, oh, trade the draft picks. No, because when these guys are going to have to start getting paid, that's when these draft picks are going to start filling in. Like, look, man, you didn't had 2 years to learn. Now come in here, play basketball at a high level for 25 minutes a night. Now come out here, guard 94 feet, guard the perimeter, and hit threes at a 38% clip on 6 a game. I need you to do that. That's what we brought you in for. Nikola Topic, you've been watching for 2 years. Now I need you to come out here and run a second unit. I need you to come out here and be a league average three-point shooter from the corner. I need you to come out here and play solid defense. I need you to come out here to be able to run the break. You know, those type of things are going to be very important. By the way, we may not do the entire first round because, once again, this video is already 40 minutes and we're on pick 15. I've been yapping for that long. Okay, so we're going to do the first 20 picks in the draft and then we're going to stop it. I have work in the morning, so it's already 10 o'clock. So let's get this started. Anyway, for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I kind of want to take somebody extremely young. I think Camden Catchings is extremely underrated. I think Dink Pate is always also somebody that could be taken. Boogie Flan, who I completely forgot about. Sorry about that, Boogie. That's on me. There's a lot of talent here. Obviously, there's a lot of guys that I'm expecting to be on this list who just have not been on this list. There's that guard from, I think, Oklahoma who's been playing really well. I think he classed up. What was his name? Jeremiah Fears. He's not here. And Labaron Phelan, I don't know how to say his name, but I think he's a combo guard out of Alabama. He's been playing really well as well. I don't think Cam Jones is on here either. Hell no. Or Jace Richardson. What are we doing? Anyway, let's keep moving. I think Hugo Gonzalez is the pick here. No, because then it's like another Nikola Topic. It's not really another Nikola Topic, but why not take Will Riley? I think Will Riley's the pick here. Once again, offensive upside, extremely lengthy. You would love to see him get in the gym just a little bit, but the offensive upside is there. You know, just him being able to be a shooter off the dribble and off the catch. His touch around the rim has been solid. He runs in transition really well. Solid offensive rebounder for what I've seen. He's been good. He's been good. As for the Minnesota Timberwolves, you just would want some shooting. That's what you would want. I think Jalil Bethea is the guy. Now, it's kind of reminiscent to Rob Dillingham because Jalil Bethea is an undersized guard no matter what you say. He is not 6'5". He's like 6'3", 185. Really small, really skinny. But then again, you need as much shooting as you can get. I think Jalil Bethea is the pick here. And he's probably going to fall. Like, to be completely honest, I was really high on Jalil Bethea coming into the season. But there still are a lot of things that you kind of get with an undersized guard who doesn't really play make at a high level. There are always going to be decent defensive liabilities in this, unless they're just the hardest working guy on the floor. If you have a short and skinny guard, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be a defensive liability unless he is the hardest guy on the court working. Anyway, wow. Why did I just say that? I just said that. That's crazy. That is crazy. The hardest guy on the floor. That is crazy. Unless he's the hardest working guy on the floor. And then on top of that, he's not playmaking as well. It's really easy to push him off his spot, so he's not going to be getting to the rim as well. He does have a shifty dribble, does have a shifty ball handle, but if you can't get to the rim efficiently, I don't know what that does for you. But with the Brooklyn Nets here, we're going to have them take Derek Queen. This is somebody, well, it's too late now. I already picked him. Derek Queen's a great player. Let's move on. The Spurs have another pick here, and they're going to take Hugo Gonzalez. He is hurt right now, not playing for Madrid. So naturally, I think his stock is going to fall just a little bit. But if he does get the chance to play this season, I think he's going to do very well for them. And I think he still has first round upside, of course. But the fact that he is hurt is going to ruin his draft stock just a little bit. As for the Atlanta Hawks, we are going to have them take, let's see, who's still on the board. I know Boogie Fland is still on the board, but that's somebody who isn't really the best fit for Atlanta. I would love to take Rocco Zakarsky for the Hawks. I don't think Clint Capella is still going to be there after this season. You know what? Yeah, perfect. Let's take Rocco Zakarsky. He's a very athletic rim protector. He flips his hips extremely well to the point where he can recover in transition. He can recover in the pick and roll. He blocks shots amazingly. Once again, his change of positioning, whether it's recovering around the rim in 2-on-1 situations or being able to flip his hips in transition to guards, I think that's very impressive. So Rocco Zakarsky is going to be the pick here. And once again, if he just rolls to the rim effectively, Trae Young's going to find him. So if you want that to be your center, maybe let him sit behind Onyeka or Clint for a season, and then the Atlanta Hawks really build this thing up, and then Rocco's ready to start when you're really ready to make a playoff push or maybe make it to a second round appearance in the playoffs. You got your guy, you know. As for the Rockets, I'm going to have them take Ben Seraph. Now, there have been a few concerns with his shot, you know, how slow it is. But I think this is a guy who is a great passer, plays well out of the pick and roll. He has a solid floater game. His downhill game is great. There's always going to be defensive concerns, but the only thing that I would say is a little shaky is his jump shot is a little slow. So that is something I would like to see get better. But you have a 6'6" shooting guard here who plays out of the pick and roll and passes really well. Has some type of scoring upside. And I think that's what the Rockets need is scoring upside. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I told you guys I will be stopping at pick number 20. So that's what we are going to do. We did 20 picks. Now, I really secretly did 24, but I think I gave my best analysis 1 through 20. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, anyway. So here's my picks with the random lottery odds. Cooper Flag goes number 1. Ace Bailey goes number 2 to the Charlotte Hornets. Then we have Dillard Harper going to the Wizards. Jaeger Demon going number 4 to the Raptors. VJ going number 5 to the 76ers. Caspers going number 6 to the New Orleans Pelicans. Nolan Traore going 7 to the Jazz. Trey Johnson going 8 to the Spurs. Liam McNeely going 9 to the Blazers. Con Knibble going 10 to the Pistons. Kaman Maluach going 11 to the Kings. Asa Noel going number 12 to the Jazz. And then you have Colin Murray Boyles going 13 to the Mavericks. Noah Essengate going 14 to the San Antonio Spurs. Will Riley going 15th to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Jalil Bethea going 16th to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Derek Queen going 17th to the Brooklyn Nets. Hugo Gonzalez going 18th to the San Antonio Spurs. Roko Zakarski going 19th to the Atlanta Hawks. And Ben Seraph going 20th to the Houston Rockets. We also have Boogie Flan going 21 to the Orlando Magic. Dink Pig going 22 to the Nets. Donnie Freeman going 23 to the Golden State Warriors, and Ryan Clark-Brenner going 24 to the Orlando Magic. Now, once again, it's still going to take time for me to learn the process or the breakdown of all of these players that are looking to get drafted. Throughout the collegiate process or throughout the draft process, we are going to learn more and more about these players. So the more we get along in this draft and then this draft process, I'm going to be able to really give more of an analysis on these players to where we can do a full 2-round mock draft. That's the goal. So as of right now, we're still working. We got through 20 picks so far. I still think I know of these players. I can't give you a detailed breakdown of all of them. And that's on me. I'm going to be able to, I'm not going to sit up and lie about a player. I'm not. But if I do know well about them, I'm going to speak on them. And this is what we did here. So if you guys want to go through this draft journey with me as we break down as much players we can who will be entering the 2025 NBA draft, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And every single week, we're going to be giving you mock draft videos. So be on the lookout for those. And sooner or later, I will be doing my top prospects in the NBA draft coming up pretty soon with a special guest, as long as we can line our schedules up. And once again, if you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out. Peace.